Hey guys,
Hello.
episode number 32.
Hello. Yes, Rob.
How are you today, Rob?
I have a really hard time with this.
In case you guys haven't noticed, we have a special guest today. Her name is Elizabeth Holmes.
I completely forgot to change my screen name. Can I do that still? I forgot to do it.
Oh, I don't know. Let's see. Oh, wait a minute.
Wait, it's not like Zoom where I can hit the rename button. Wait, let me get my serious face on. Oh, I can't do it, you guys. Okay. All right. That was enough fun for one day.
It is Elizabeth Holmes for Halloween.
Kelly's doing it too. She just couldn't find the red lipstick and she won't take her glasses off. She's being a party pooper.
I'm her
Kelly and I are the
sister.
bodyguards.
She's not as pale as I am, so she can't pull it off like I can.
Wait till I go to Mexico again. I'll never be able to pull it off.
Oh, wait, we got Heather for a minute. Heather said, "What's up with the black?" And then she said, "Now I get it."
It's because I forgot to rename myself Elizabeth Holmes. I have to do that next time.
Oh, boy. Diane says, "Great costume." See, I told you could pull it out. Bonita says the resemblance is uncanny.
Oh, well, Benita, I'm going to take that as a compliment because I thought she looked really pretty in that picture Rob showed.
So, for those of you who might be listening on Apple, Spotify, whatever your favorite podcasting platform is, Joe is dressed like Elizabeth Holmes. So what you should do is go to FridayFroster.com so that you can see the video. You should watch us as well as listen on your favorite podcasting platform. And by the way, while you're there, give us a 5-star rating on your favorite podcasting platform. Whew. Wow, is that a lot of front-loaded shameless plugs?
It's all right.
So today's titles are The Bank Does Not Account and Pension Schmention. I say this every week, but today is going to be a whole lot of fun. But before we get there, Joe, how was Mexico?
Mexico was unbelievable. Really good experience. Got to go to Mexico City and speak last Friday. Came home for like 10 hours, and then I got to fly to Virginia Beach and speak, and it was just as good. It's amazing to be in front of people again. So it was awesome.
And so what you guys don't know is Joe actually did her presentation in Spanish in Mexico.
Oh. Wait, hold on. Let me think of something witty to say in response to that.
You could just call me El Loco.
Not El Loco. Nada. Is that none? No.
Yeah. Close enough, yeah. Nada is kind of like nothing or, yeah.
I just say those translators and interpreters are amazing humans. And it was great that they were there.
Ah, so yo no hablas español.
No hablas español.
Ah, sí.
Just me llamo Joe. How'd I do?
That was very great.
Or
yeah.
Muy bien.
¿Dónde es el baño?
Oh, where's the bathroom? Yeah, sure.
¿Dónde es el cerveza? La cerveza.
Where's the beer? Yeah,
All right, that's all I needed to know. So,
exactly. Exactly. Hey, my Spanish isn't too bad. I actually got that.
I know.
Uh, Diane says all Joe needs is a little test tube with red food coloring in it.
But wait, what did Joe bring? You guys forgot. It's in my lap. It's sleeping.
creepy. It's so creepy.
I brought my baby just because Kelly taught us about the belly defense that Elizabeth Holmes had, and she had her baby to delay the trial. And so I brought my baby just to see Elizabeth Holmes. And I had a great call this morning with Galena, and she's the one that said the baby. So thanks for the prop recommendation, Galena. Shout out if you're on. But so I got, it's a girl, but just ignore it. It's the only one I can find.
So for those who may not know what we're talking about now, in one of our previous episodes, we talked about the Elizabeth Holmes trial, and Kelly introduced us all to pleading the belly. Remember, she got pregnant. Well, remember the first time she was supposed to go to trial, she said she couldn't go because of COVID. She didn't want to get COVID. And then the second time she showed up pregnant. And Kelly said that this is something that people actually do, and it's called pleading the belly. We had no idea that it was a real thing. It's pleading the belly. Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So now Pozo is actually fluent in Spanish. She says, "Donde está Elizabeth Holmes? Where is Elizabeth Holmes?"
Well, I was just reading about her trial update. I know Kelly's following it probably closer than I am, but it sounds like the defense or her lawyers are now blaming the investors for not doing enough due diligence or something crazy like that. I mean, come on. Yeah.
I have to say, I don't like to victim shame ever, but the FOMO, the lack of due diligence, we're smarter than everyone else. And some of their investors deserve to lose it. And I never say that. But, you know, I'm like, they deserved it. I'm sorry. I'm jumping the shark here and saying they deserved it, even though I talked to an investigator attorney yesterday, and she disagreed with me because she said there was false information on the documents. But that's what due diligence is for, is to make sure the documents are true. So I don't know. Some of the people who lost money, they're not having to sell a boat, a house. They're not having to, like, you know, this is nothing for them.
Yeah.
Hey, Kelly, how did you change your name on the screen?
You go down to the little 3 dots.
Where are the 3? Oh, I see it. Oh, okay. You think in the virtual world I would know this by now, but anyway, okay. I'm on it.
Okay, so just FYI, I'm your mom, and I don't even know what her mom looks like, but I'm old enough to be your mom. If I had you at a very young age, teenage pregnancy.
Now, Stephanie says she hasn't been here in a while. Yes, we missed you, and we noticed that you weren't here. Great to see everyone. And Galena is here, and she says, "Great outfit, Joe."
Galena, I tried. Did you see my baby? She just joined. I have to show her my baby. Okay. I'm sorry for all the listeners. They're not really understanding this, but I did find a baby. Okay, go ahead.
And also, Kelly may be Elizabeth's mom, but I am Elizabeth's bodyguard.
One.
Oh my gosh. I've never felt like I had an entourage before, but I'm really into this.
All right. So before we get into our first story, let me see if this works. I've got some new toys here. Oh, it does. Well, so look, guys, it is getting close to Christmas time, and some of you guys know some awesome auditors. That is my newest t-shirt design, the Awesome Auditor. You can go to the store and pick it up right now for $25. Right on time for Christmas season.
And what is your awesomeauditors.club? Is that it, Rob? I'm going to put
that is it. Awesomeauditors.club. Leave me your email address because next year I have some really cool stuff coming.
Is it auditors or auditor? Sorry. Awesome Auditor.
You know, I think it's both. But auditors with an S, I believe, is the best one.
It's in there now. All right.
Oh, Stephanie says she has listened to every episode on Spotify, not Apple. Thank you, Stephanie. Even though we're on the forbidden fruit, you know how I feel about the forbidden fruit.
I love the stock, man.
Such Apple haters. Can I just hold up my computer with my app with my little fruit on it?
I
Oh,
am 100% an Apple hater.
True, so mean.
I'm an Apple lover.
Me too. Kelly and I against Rob.
The only apples I like are Red Delicious.
Those
Okay.
are like the worst.
So Benita says I should wear this outfit to an audit. I'm wondering though, should I wear this for my next ethics presentation?
Ooh,
Big me.
you should.
Right, big me. But I'm a little hesitant because they might think I'm crazy when I start speaking. But I don't know. It could be fun. It's
But
all
it actually fits though. We're not saying that you're crazy. I mean, it fits the whole ethics thing and Elizabeth Holmes.
we are no longer friends. Just
That's
saying.
why I knew I was gonna have to clarify that. Right when it came out, I was like, this sounds not how I'm trying to make it sound.
Oh, that's so fantastic.
Yeah, Benita, that's a good idea.
I think you should wear it to the New York State Internal Controls Association conference. We are doing fraud in pop culture.
We are. Kelly
I
and
think you should. And maybe I should, I don't know.
Okay.
I could go as Rita Crundwell and I'd have to go buy like a horse hat.
Yes, you could. Or we
Yeah.
we should do this. It's like dress up day.
I think we might.
Yeah. It's next week, so it's close enough to Halloween. They may not think we're too crazy if we do it.
Yeah.
Now, I tell you what, our audience is giving us some really good ideas because Diane says, yes, do that and give away a prize to whomever notices first.
Perfect. Free
Oh,
book.
that's so good.
Free
Yep.
whatever. Free awesome auditor shirt. Rob.
This is why we like you guys. You guys help us become better. Together, we are better. Bonita says Honey Crisp apples are the best.
I think they're a little overrated, Benita.
Oh, boy. So,
All right, let's get on with the show, I suppose.
the bank does not account. Now, in our first story, it's going to sound similar to a bank that Joe has talked about recently. Oh, let's just get on with it. One of two men charged with conspiring to steal bank customers' information and withdrawing approximately $604,000 from their accounts has admitted his role in the scheme. Lamar Mahalo, 32, of Bronx, New York, of the Bronx, Pozo, you better watch out, pleaded guilty to conspiracy to commit bank fraud. He agreed to pay back all the money. He pulled off the scam with Jameer, who worked in the Mount Laurel call center of a bank with branches across New Jersey. Now, they didn't name the bank. They were co-workers, and what they did was they enlisted someone else to help them steal identities and account information of customers by taking screenshots. And they did this from between August of 2016 to August of 2017. They arranged for fake IDs to be made in the names of the customers. Then they hired someone else and they went to various bank branches to withdraw cash. This was only after one of the conspirators called the bank and changed the addresses on the accounts using the stolen data. So they actually had ID cards with their pictures on it and the name of the people who should have been on the bank account, and then they diverted the mail to a new address. The men also used stolen information to transfer money from the compromised accounts. At least 7 bank customers were victimized with thousands of dollars stolen from each. The bank is not named in the court papers. I wonder who it is. In an example outlined in the charging documents, the men used stolen information to change a victim's address to one in Connecticut. They then obtained a fake Connecticut driver's license and went to bank branches in New Jersey and Hoboken to make cash withdrawals totaling $7,410. That was on August the 10th of 2016. On other occasions, the thieves made fraudulent withdrawals of thousands of dollars apiece from banks in Newark, Paterson, Trenton, Hamilton, Woodland Park, Little Falls, Livingston, and in Philadelphia. The largest withdrawal was on September 8th, 2016, and it was for $7,000. Now, one of them is going to be sentenced on March the 7th, 2022. Charges against the other one are still pending, according to court documents. So, Man.
I was getting caught up on Ozarks the other night,
Ooh.
and Ruth had like this group of guys. She's outside her, I'm gonna be mean, her mobile home, and or her whatever, and she's teaching these guys how to smurf. And so, like,
Yep.
oh my god, I love her voice in that. She's
Mhm.
just like so funny. But this is like, they kept it under 10. It just reminds me of the whole Smurfing. Smurfy's so old, it's kind of new again.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And when does the new season of Ozarks come out, Kelly? There's another plug for fraud and pop culture because we need to know that by next week. It's June, I think. I thought it was
Yeah.
December.
Yeah. I'll find out.
Man.
Yeah, I think it's like December or January. It's really, really soon because Ozarks, if you've never seen that, you guys have got to watch it. It is just
January
fantastic.
2022.
There
January.
we
Okay.
go.
All right, couple more months.
Whew, I can't wait. Now,
You know,
Kelly,
oh, sorry.
oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, like, why do things like this one take so long? I mean, is this an extra 2-year delay because of COVID, Kelly, or is this like normal 2016 to 2022 before we're getting sentenced dates? Like, this is crazy.
It's both. It's both, but it's definitely COVID. Like, I know someone who it'll be 4 years in December for her for just at garden variety embezzlement. Granted, it's a little complicated because there was a divorce in there and everything, but the courts are really backed up, really, really backed up.
Yeah.
So
Now, Heather says she doesn't know what smurfing is unless it's the cartoon.
La 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 la.
That's it.
Ozarks is on Netflix.
Yes. All right, so
Yeah.
let's tell Heather what smurfing is. Yes, Stephanie said what platform is that on? It's on Netflix. And it is so good, Stephanie. It's so good.
Season 2, I think, was kind of went a little off the rails, I thought. But season 3, I think is like, I mean, I'm catching up and wow. Yeah.
Smurfing is just money laundering, right?
It's going to a bunch of banks with under $10,000. And so, like, Ruth was telling these, I mean, they're just a bunch of dudes who go to the casino to lose money because they're laundering the money through the casino.
Yep.
But there's also a FBI forensic accountant who's actually, her story is really interesting. No spoilers, but she's like goes around, she'll talk to this. So where'd you get your money? So Ruth's telling these guys, you need to have a story and it can't all be the same story. And don't go out and buy a boat when you're done with, like, it's a great, it's a great thing, but it's keeping the money under 10,000 and they would send out crews to go hit various banks.
Mm-hmm.
So in in Ozarks, it was crews to hit the casino.
So it's basically the same thing.
Yeah.
And, and I worked at a bank. Rob, you've worked in financial services, right? Before.
Yep.
So, the whole changing of the address thing on this one is what brought back memories to me because we used to do this like 10-day hold. If you changed your address, you couldn't get any disbursements within 10 days. So I'm guessing because they worked at the bank, they knew how to get around all these rules too. So they obviously were pretty patient in the time period that they did this, probably too. So
yeah, well, and it just brings up an interesting point. It looks like they worked in the call center, and oftentimes people in the call center, I mean, you have access to a lot of different things because you never know what a customer is going to need. But it also sounds like he partnered with someone else, possibly in another area of the bank too, in order to make some stuff happen. But yeah, the changing of the address and then getting fake IDs with their pictures on them so that they could go and withdraw money. One thing I don't understand about some criminals is that one was kind of stupid, right? I mean, because most banks have security cameras. And so when the person says, I didn't withdraw this money, you pull the security camera and you see who actually did it, even though the bank teller actually checked the real ID, the real fake ID. you now know what the person looks like that came into the bank and did the withdrawal.
Yeah, so they must have, those guys or gals who they hired to go into the bank, obviously didn't realize probably what they were getting themselves into. They probably just wanted $500 or whatever they were being offered off the top. I mean, that's the sad thing about fraud, right? Kelly was just talking about that earlier today with the three of us. It's sad. Fraud is sad. They found somebody on the street that was probably desperate to go in, and they're going to take the risk to be caught on camera doing this because they're going to think there's some higher, level person that's going to get, really caught for this. So they end up being the scapegoats, really.
Low hanging fruit. Where's Hal? Is Hal not here today?
Here, Dan's not here. We don't have our Mark's not here. We don't have some of our regulars today.
Yeah, Hal emailed and said he probably was not going to be able to make it today.
So this is so funny. I just pulled up a picture of Elizabeth Holmes' mother that could pass for her. And she's wearing a pink cardigan.
Kelly, that might have to be how we start off on next week.
I might have to go get a pink cardigan. It's like a twin set. I put the link in the show notes at the New York Times article. It's like they're holding hands. Sorry, we digress. Okay, it's just too funny.
I do have one other comment, though, to what you're saying. Like, we were trying to come up as auditors with good controls to put in call centers so that those banking call center reps don't get all that personal information from the callers. So, we all get annoyed with like automated systems where you have to put in your social and stuff before you even get a person. But what the majority of the world doesn't understand, besides us, is that that's a protection for them. So that person answering the phone doesn't have your whole, social security, birth date. Like, it's better to put it in their system that's automated behind the scenes, that then hopefully, if the controls are good at that organization, that call center rep doesn't have access to your social, to your birthday, to that stuff that they would need to steal your identities. And we worked really hard on trying to put that in place. But I think people get frustrated. I just want to talk to a person. I get that, but this is kind of protecting us in a little way.
It's
friction. And to your point, though, I've only seen it done well a few times. Most places, you put in your social security number to the automated system, you get to the real person, and they ask you for it again.
I know.
And then you ask them, well, don't you have it? Well, I don't have it. Most of them will say, I don't have it, because really, if you just needed to verify it, you could just verify the last 4. So, and we know that that's not actually the system. That is the way the system was implemented. But
right. Yeah. There's so much, I feel like. I mean, this one's a little bit hard because there was some, I want to say there's collusion, but not really. I mean, one person could have done the screenshots on their own, at the bank. It talks about how friends at the bank worked together and did it, but really, I think they were just in cahoots. But it is kind of scary to think about the access that some of these people have or the information that they have about us. So does it all go back to trust? And we talked earlier today about background checks. And yes, we would love to think that we're hiring employees that we can trust, but what else can we do and ask? And Kelly, I think you should tell everybody, if you were a boss, the question that you were going to ask at the end of every interview, because I think it was so awesome. I loved it.
So my question is like, so I'm going to Las Vegas this weekend. Do you guys like Vegas? And if they say they like Vegas, I'm like, there's a door. Go.
But I did tell her I loved Vegas, so I was kind of in trouble. I'll never make Kelly's staff cut. Dang it. But,
right.
And then Danielle, who's another one of our faithful followers and friends, said, I'm surprised Kelly didn't say horses. So do you have any experience with horses?
Okay, so little side note, I got a text from my brother-in-law. He's married to my sister on Sunday that my sister fell off a horse and broke her pelvis. It's really bad.
Oh no, that's so bad.
It's really bad. But my thing is like, why is she riding horses? She's as poor as a church mouse. Like, that was where I went to. I was like, who the hell do you think you are to ride a horse? Like, I can ride horses before you.
Kelly, you are so funny. Keeping it real, sister.
You know what? So Stephanie says that so many Smurfs and mules coming into her financial institution on the daily. Now that's crazy, but I guess fraud actually is up now. And Thomas says, well, at least Facebook is
Oh,
rebranding to Meta, so totally trustworthy with our info now, right?
oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
don't even get me started, Thomas.
yeah. The Meta thing. Well, you know what though? What's old is new, and what's new is old. Because I don't know if you guys remember what was the old video game back in the day. It's still around. Half Life, half no. I forgot. I'll put it into the chat if I remember, but it was the virtual world that Facebook is talking about, and it was about 10 years ago. But here's what I thought about controls for this particular case, and it's probably going to have to come to this. So when I was a chief auditor over hospitals, um, when we were doing the pharmacies, one good control for the pharmacy was we made people put their purses and book bags up before you even walked into the pharmacy. So you had a separate place for your purses and your book bags. In call centers, they may have to start banning cell phones on the floor.
Mhm. Cell phones and I mean screenshot capabilities on computers. I mean, I'm sure there's a gazillion ways they could figure out to get around that, but yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Disable the flash drives, disable screen capture capability, disable the ability for them to get to their own emails and maybe email something if they just screen print it. And it's sad that it might come to that, but this is one where I don't know if they could have actually prevented it. Well, you never know. I mean, there's certain data analytic checks that you could use. I mean, if you see a certain number of address changes within a certain vicinity within a certain period of time, that's kind of strange, right? How many people are actually changing their address? But there's a lot of stuff there.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like if it was a lot of address changes, I'm just brainstorming out loud from like where they opened the bank account or where one person worked, right? Where that employee worked or something. But, they were kind of, I know you said they weren't smart, Robert, but they kind of were. I mean, they went all over, they sent people all over to different branches, so they did spread the love a little bit. But I'm sure there's something. If our buddy Trent was on here, he'd probably come up with something. Data analyticsy. Is that a term? I don't know. I'm probably embarrassing myself. I'm Elizabeth today, not Joe. So I can embarrass myself all I want.
Second Life is the name of it. It's been around
Yes.
for at
Oh,
least 10 years, maybe even 15.
yeah.
Yeah, there she is. Stephanie just put it too, right when I thought about it. Yeah, Second Life virtual world. I used to play, I mean, I have friends that used to play it back in the day.
So what?
There's a
I have friends. You have friends. Um, so what kind of controls are we going to need to have in place when Meta's around? Virtual reality. Oh my gosh. Anyway.
It's going to be interesting because what's going to happen is people are going to navigate through a virtual world and then they're going to buy things in a store, probably in the virtual world that are either virtual goods or maybe even physical goods where you see a representation of them in the virtual world.
Mhm.
So it's going to have a whole new dynamic to it. But like I said, Second Life was like that years ago anyway.
So this is a complete side note since we talked about I was traveling for the first time in like forever this week. There was one of those Amazon stores in the airport where you just go in and pick the thing off the shelf. And this lady got charged for something that she didn't take out of there. And she was just having this whole meltdown in the airport about, how, technology isn't ready and, the world's not ready because they can't even get it right. And it was all because she got charged for like a 2-pack of masks for like $5 that she didn't walk out there with. But I mean, like literally, this woman had a meltdown. And I'm telling you, traveling can be fun when you watch the people around you. But I mean, she was obviously one of those that's going to fight the technology and the change. But it's true. We've got to make sure things work. And I guess the person that she called said, oh, this is just a test. We're just seeing how this test store goes, this Amazon walk in, walk out. And she's like, well, it's not going well, and I'm just laughing. But anyway, it just,
But did you film the meltdown?
oh, could have. Why do I not think about these things? Oh my gosh. There was
well,
a
and
guy.
I went to a doctor's office this week and I hadn't been there before. and they gave me an iPad to fill all my stuff out.
Yeah.
And I'm not very good with iPads, like give me a computer, or a phone. But
Yeah.
at first I was annoyed. And then I was like, it's a lot more efficient for them. Like a lot more efficient for them. But here I am, whatever age I am. And then an older guy comes in. If you would have given an iPad to my dad, he would have thrown it across the room and said, I'm not doing this. Like he literally wouldn't have been able to do it.
Well, it's like the QR codes. I actually just had this conversation at the conference I was just at. Like QR codes, like were in and then they were out, and now they're back in because everybody's using them at menus. But people don't like them yet. Like it's just not. It's not working 100% yet. So anyway.
Yeah. But we are getting there slowly. It's exciting and scary at the same time. So you guys, you're here on the Friday Froster. Today, the bank account does not account. Our first story talking about, well, some guys or girls or whoever, they stole some bank account information, created some fake IDs, and then took money from people's accounts. And we were sitting here trying to figure out what kind of controls we could put in place for this one, but this is a tough one. Just watch your bank account. Get some electronic statements. You'll have an email each time your address changes and all that other good stuff. And I guess that's about as good as it can get. Now, Galena says she uses QR codes as her business card.
I love that. And I use my LinkedIn QR code in all my presentations because I think it's a great way to get people to connect with you easily. And so I think 50 to 75% of the world might be there. But like Kelly said, her dad's not, those kind of, I don't know. Maybe I'm being ageist, but I think it's harder for those that are. My dad's like, where's the menu? So I totally get it. Okay.
So here's the question with QR codes, though. If you're on your phone and you get emailed a QR code, how do you?
Yeah, I know. Or if you're watching the Zoom webinar, I get this question because I do some of my polls that way. And if they're watching the webinar on their phone, they can't do that. So I always put the hyperlink in too. So you got to have options, right? You got to have plan A and plan B so that they can click the link.
Yeah, because I've been thinking about doing QR codes, and then I'm trying to, troubleshoot to see how I can make sure that it is the most effective that it can be. And that was one thought that came up. How do I do that?
Yeah.
So,
hey, on this bank note though, like, can we talk about how things like QR codes, and things like just ATMs to avoid going into a teller? I mean, I think we've got to realize, like, I'm not the biggest fan of technology every day, but we have to recognize as auditors when technology is going to help us with controls like this, with fraud, right, Kelly? I mean, like it's not, so the best Elizabeth Holmes quote, right, in character, was from that HBO documentary, The Inventor, Out for Blood. It wasn't Elizabeth who said it, but somebody in that documentary said, technology doesn't lie, but the people behind technology do lie. And that was like one of my favorite quotes in that documentary. And I think it's like we have to learn how to embrace technology, but make sure the people building it are ethical. We have to really, like, what is it? Stress test our intuition on ethics when it comes to technology. And I think that's going to, though, help us with stuff like this. Because like Rob said, it's hard to find controls in this situation. But if we take the people out, maybe we can.
But
I just thought about something else, though.
Technology.
What?
The people behind the technology.
What, Mom? What'd you say?
Mama? Mom? They were very sad last Friday or Thursday at Starbucks, apparently. It's that Dorothy said that they looked like, was it Dorothy? No, it was someone else. It was John Carreyrou's sort of person. She said she saw them in Starbucks and it looked like Elizabeth was like, not like she's very firm in the courthouse, but at Starbucks, she was resting on her mama. Oh. Noel. And her name is Noel.
Okay, Noel.
Not Noble. Noel.
Nothing noble about. Okay, never mind.
All right, we digress. I'm just channeling my inner Elizabeth today, I guess.
All right, guys. So our second story for the day Pension schmention. Whew.
Oh,
Now
this is a good
this one.
Do I
So
like this one a lot?
yes, the SEC has joined the FBI in an investigation of Pennsylvania's biggest pension fund. They subpoenaed a bunch of records, well, because they think that there's some improper compensation and gifts possibly offered to staff members. Now, they have a state policy that says that staff members are forbidden from accepting gifts. But then there's some other things that happen too. So federal prosecutors are investigating it. It's a 64 billion with a B dollar pension fund. And they were looking for evidence of kickbacks and bribery. And so the subpoenas that they had sought grand jury testimony from the executive director, the chief financial officer, the deputy chief investment officer, and the chief auditing officer. So auditors, take note, you might be subpoenaed. They make a point to say that no one, including those who were served subpoenas, has been accused of wrongdoing, at least not yet. Again, it's a $6 billion pension fund. It serves 265,000 retired teachers and other former school employees. A local newspaper there called the Inquirer obtained some internal documentation that said that there were material errors and data corruption in what they're saying to be just 1 month of their calculations. They're saying that the error was small and it falsely boosted the fund's performance by only about a third of a percentage point over 1 quarter. But they were saying even so, with that happening, it was just enough to, let's see. Oh, it was just enough to do something. I lost my place, guys. Sorry, I'll come back to that. But there's so much within this one because they also hired a fund consultant who blamed the mistake on a clerical error from their staff.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yep.
Throw someone under the bus.
Exactly. But then another consultant said that he didn't really buy that because he said, you guys only checked 1 month. You need to go back and look because it's probably worse than you think. So then at one point, I'm sorry, guys, I'm messing this story up because it is all over the place. So at one point, they told the board that everything was okay and they gave the board the calculation. And when they came back with another calculation, they said that they might have to increase the amount that people hired after 2011 needed to contribute to the pension fund. Then they came back and reversed that and said, oh, no, we're under the threshold, so everything is okay. And between the errors and the non-errors and the presenting information to the board and reneging on things that they presented to the board, now federal agencies are concerned.
Kelly, you think there was a whistleblower in this one? I mean,
Oh,
there had to have been a tip in this one, right? Like, I bet it was one of those disgruntled people that I think it was the opposite of what you said, Rob, but maybe I read it wrong. Like they said nobody had to pay in, and then all of a sudden the numbers weren't as good as they said they were. So now all these people do have to pay in. And in my gut, when I was reading this, I felt like I bet one of those people complained and said, wait a second, why do we not know our results? Well, because they were using unaudited financial statements instead of their audited ones. To do the pension calculations, even to begin with. Like, there were so many red flags in this, which is why I think the SEC is reporting or looking into it, investigating.
So I put in the chat the Twitter for Joseph DiStefano, who's one of the reporters, Philly Joe D. Apparently, the PSERS chief counsel just stepped down. He called it a very challenging time, and he affirmed the audit committee chair. And it's like, and then another post he did just yesterday, 2 days ago, 6 months into the federal probe of the issue, blue chip law firms' $1 million fees or bills are piling up. So who's going to pay for this again? Like, I mean, it's going to be the pensioners.
Yep. I saw where they hired 3 law firms for a total of about, I think it said $1 million. And this was last year. So I found what I was looking for, you guys. It said, so last year, the board triumphantly declared that its investment strategies had paid off. It claimed to have put the fund over the benchmark hurdle, sparing teachers and other staff from an increase. And then this April is when it reversed course and abandoned that old performance figure. It's official. So it officially adopted a new lower one and announced that the workers would indeed pay. The increase kicked in July 1 of this year. So last year they said no increase, and then now that they know it's wrong, there is an increase for the pensioners. But like you just said, Kelly, not only are they going to have to pay for this, they're going to have to pay for those high-powered attorney fees.
Well, and I just feel like this is just ripe for fraud. Like, I feel like the pension probably doesn't have as much money as it should to begin with. And, this is just, I don't know, it's got like sirens going off in my head because, it even says that this pension fund paid more than 700 million at last annual count in fees and profit sharing to over 150 Wall Street firms and other private money managers. They are throwing money away. This is not protecting the pension and creating a pension retirement for your employees. This is throwing money at Wall Street. And this pension is going to go under. I mean, if they don't start getting this in check. So somebody was paying attention to what they were doing, and they had to have blown the whistle, right? I mean, that's.
Well, and then the travel stuff.
Yes.
Like, I'm sorry. Like, the pension funds pay for their $1,100 stays. Like, this is just, it's incentives.
Yeah.
How do you turn down when someone asks you for, we want to run another 250 million for, your retirement, and you've just put them up. Like, they flew to New York first class. They stayed at the Ritz. They had a big dinner at Peter Luger's. And then they ask you for another investment. Humans don't, it's reciprocity. It's Robert Cialdini and reciprocity. They give you all this stuff, and it's really, really hard to say no.
Yeah. And they say they're okay that the money managers booked the pension employees like hotels and everything because they paid it back. I'm like, yeah, you paid it back and then some because of all the fees that these money managers and these big bankers are charging you to manage the people that work for the state's retirement income. Like, this one just screams, fraud, or not even fraud, just the greed. This one.
Greed is good. Gordon Gekko. Greed is good.
Greed. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's it too. The expensive travel should have been a red flag when you audit travel and entertainment expenses. So there was some excessive spending there, even in New York for hotels. And then I don't know if you guys saw, the other thing was the pension fund purchased a bunch of land that they're saying is questionable because it was possibly owned by some members of the pension fund possibly could have benefited from the purchase of the land.
Oh, wait. So, Robert, are you saying there was a conflict of interest?
Ooh, maybe just a slight one.
And maybe that's why it also says not only have they hired 3 lawyers for the pension plan, but they've hired a lawyer for 8 of the employees. They have 500 staff and board members of this pension plan. That clearly 8 of them need some sort of lawyer. So they're in on this somehow, or they know,
Well, and the subpoena was sent to the chief counsel last Friday, and now he quits yesterday or 2 days ago. Yep. Like, do you think you quitting is going to, it's just awful. So,
what's funny is, we always talk about, it's not funny. We talk about boards, right? And boards, and, we talk about Elizabeth Holmes' board, they were just a bunch of lapdogs to Elizabeth. They, did whatever she wanted. In this case, this article said there was 3 board members who didn't approve the fictitious figure in January because they didn't think that was the right number. They thought it was inflated. And it tells who that was. But the chief investment officer, who's got to be one of these people with the lawyer, said their concerns were groundless. I love this. This is his quote, you guys. "We did our due diligence," he said. "We covered it. I'm not worried about it." And I'm like,
Mm.
we covered it doesn't give me the warm, fuzzy feeling. I don't know about you guys, but I'm like, that sounds like we covered it up. Like we did something bad. And I was like, red flag, red flag.
That's what I was about to say. He left out a word, right? We covered it up.
Yeah, we covered it.
Well,
Like,
and
no.
well, and if you think about pension funds, right? You're either going to invest in, you're going to send your money to an investment firm so that they can invest it in stocks and bonds and maybe real estate trusts, or you're going to invest in some companies, or you're going to invest in some property yourself that you run. And at each board meeting, you should have some sort of performance measurements back to your benchmark to see how well your investment managers are performing.
Yeah.
So I just like, was that happening? What happened with the purchase of that land? What was it for? Was it, did you go buy Dollywood thinking that it was going to make you some money, or did you just buy, something?
Dollywood would make them money because Dolly Parton's brilliant.
Exactly. Well, and I know even like
favors, bribes, kickbacks, gifts, like that's why they did it. That's why they're giving them their money, not because of the good returns for their pension employees, not because of that. It's because who was paying them the most or giving them that best kickback.
Yeah. Well, and I wonder what the chief auditor has to say because he or she was subpoenaed.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
So this guy I put in the chat, Edward Seidel, or I don't know, Seidel, he's a whistleblower. If you look at his Twitter, he's just going to make hundreds of millions of dollars going after pension funds for stuff like this. It is his cash cow.
Wow.
It is beyond his cash cow. He's looking at Rhode Island, Ohio. Like he probably just has a business model for this stuff.
Which would be great. Like I know how we feel about lawyers. They're Noelle, Elizabeth's mom. But it would be great if he was coming from a place of protecting the people that need the pension. And, if his fees were not outrageous but this is kind of protecting this, I don't know, retirement and people's legacy. And like, I think somebody needs to make sure they're doing it right. If auditors aren't doing it, maybe anyway, I don't know. Do we have any auditors on that have audited pension funds before?
Have they heard of Edward Seidel? Seidel. He looks fascinating. He's moved to Florida because he has so much money. He's doing police pension. So that makes me think of the movie. What's the movie on with Mark Wahlberg and the other guys? Remember the police pension got ripped off?
Oh, yeah.
Yep. I was giving Kelly a time about the other guys. Has anybody on seen that one besides me, Rob, and Kelly? I didn't love it at first, and that's why she was like, "You didn't love it." Anyway, I guess it was my kind of humor.
Wait, and how much money did he get, Kelly, in his last settlement?
$48 million.
Wow.
So here's an article. Where's the auditor for Ohio Retirement Study Council? This was in August. It's like, where's the auditor?
Sadly, that's a headline a lot.
Where's the auditor? Uncomfortable granular detail in Seidel report. I'm kind of fascinated by this guy. I reached out to him on LinkedIn. I'm following him on Twitter. I'm kind of fascinated. He's a lawyer though, but he doesn't lawyer. He finds money. So
Pozo says she used to audit benefit plans and management and investment fees seem excessive.
Yes, they are very much excessive. Yeah, and that's the problem is that I have like with this article with the chief investment officer, because his whole role, most likely at that organization, is to bring in the most in fees as he can and so well, that would be the chief investment officers at the banks and the money markets and everything. But his role at the pension should be to pay the least amount of fees, right? So, but he's probably not even worried about that.
Yeah. Well, and what really stinks about this one is apparently from some of the documentation, people thought that the numbers were wrong all along. So it sounds like some individuals with power and authority in the organization exercised that power and authority to keep others quiet. So it sounds almost like a culture issue.
Oh, Doesn't that always come back around to bite us? Well, I ask the question again, what makes an organization successful? Is it the financials? Is it their product or, service that they sell? Or is it their culture? It's always the culture.
Well, and I'll tell you, like where I live, oh my God, people are going after the top 10 PERS recipients all the time and saying how it's broken. And yeah, for the top 10, yeah, it is. I mean, my father-in-law was retired on PERS, but but the other thing is what they're doing is they're making it that the recipients get too much money. And really, they push it down on the little people. So you have teachers who are, retired on 30 grand a year or whatever, and they're not looking at the big picture when there's billions and billions of dollars. And so they're just like, I mean, I know where I live, it's like, oh, those greedy PERS recipients. And I have a very good friend who used to run a state investment fund. And she and I differed. She's just like, this is how you have to do it. And I'm like, put it in an index fund. And she's like, oh, that's for you little people. Little people.
Wow.
Should we have the active versus passive investing debate? I'm like, I just got an email from Vanguard, so it seemed really fitting for this conversation that we're having. But I mean, there's I don't know. We could go all sorts of directions with this.
Yeah.
But overall, this is a sad story, and I bet more comes out. I think we've talked about this before, but I think we need to do one of those episodes where we just revisit 10 of the frauds we've talked about to do the where are we today?
Yep.
Happening now. Because
where are they now?
No money in this pension fund. I mean, I'm sure there's some, but we might find out something huge with this one.
Yeah, I think so, because when they talk about how, the board thought something was wrong, or three specific people thought that something was wrong and they passed it anyway, then they came back and said no, and now they're disputing or mad about this purchase of land. And I was thinking, if you're a pension fund, why are you purchasing land anyway, unless you see a fast resale for it? Because are you going to hold on to land for 10, 20 years for it to appreciate, to be worth your time? And if that's the case, are you flipping property? Was it just vacant land, or was it already occupied?
Timber. It might be timber or farmland.
Yeah. Oh.
Or timber's been very profitable.
That's true. They are. Yeah.
Or maybe we should just be happy they bought land and not 3 private jets.
Or invested in Theranos. I mean, thank goodness they didn't invest in Theranos.
Or WeWork, right, Kelly?
Yeah.
My mind went to Adam Newman and his private jets. I'm like, I guess we're glad that they're not,
it's all relative. Fraud is relative.
Yeah.
And Pozo and Bonita are having a great time in the chat. Bonita says, Pozo, I like hanging out with you all week. And Pozo said, me too, Bonita. So see, we're bringing people together here while discussing fraud.
We're so good at
fraud does not have to be all bad.
And we're learning so much from each other. You guys are awesome.
I'm still amazed by the plead the belly, though. I mean, that.
I feel bad for the people listening to this, because they're probably like, what's happening right now?
You know what? You guys I know you guys know I love Pivot, and it's Kara Swisher and Scott Galloway, and they have this banter. And I'm sitting here doing this, and I'm like, we are like the fraud version of Pivot with our banter. Yeah. Truly. And people are getting stuff out of it. You've got Twitter, you have articles, so there is banter, but there is really good information.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's stuff that people don't talk about, but want to talk about and need to talk about. There are so few people in our space who are open enough to say the things that we say. And we do it in a comedic way sometimes, because sometimes you have to laugh, because this stuff is crazy. This is really crazy.
Well, and I think I've said this 100 times, but I think it's not just for our professional lives, but it's for our personal lives too. I feel like I get smarter every time Kelly tells me a story. So, right? I mean, she just knows what happens. But this is like a bank, I'm going to watch and see if the teller is screenshotting my bank account information next time. It's just, It brings up those controls in your own life. And I know, can we plug, Rob, you're speaking at the All-Star Vegas IIA conference, and you're doing Audit Your Life, right? I know it probably has nothing to do with this, but I think we all need some of that. We need controls and to pay attention. We walk around like zombies sometimes. So anyway, it's just a great reminder, I think.
Yes, 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 yes. Now, Bonita says, yes, the hard topics need civil discourse. Bonita posted something today or yesterday on LinkedIn saying something similar to what she just said here. And yes, I will be the closing keynote speaker at the IIA All-Star Conference in Las Vegas, closing out the year for the Institute of Internal Auditors' last session of the year. It's going to be fun.
You're awesome. Okay, are we done? Is it
Yeah.
Friday weekend? Is it margarita time? I don't know. I was trying to think of something Elizabeth Holmes would drink, but probably.
Oh, what's her favorite drink?
You know, I was about to say something. I won't say it. Yeah, you know, I'm going to say it anyway. I don't think she's much of the drinking type. I think she's much of the medication type.
Yeah, I can totally see that.
It might be, get this, a Bloody Mary.
Oh,
Sorry.
Kelly, I love you. You're fantastic. Oh my God.
That is a good one. That is so awesome. Oh boy, that's a good one. And
We should have shown up with Bloody Marys. Wine 30.
Oh my gosh. Wine 30. I love it. Oh, you guys.
Wait, Bonita said she just opened Kelly's book on a video. Oh, she said she just opened your book on a video post.
What?
Yeah. So she must have posted about your book on LinkedIn.
Oh God. Oh dear.
Oh.
I hope you like it.
Bonita's awesome at those videos. She's
yeah.
tips on that.
Heather is kind of saying what I was thinking.
Yes. Agree. You guys are awesome. Thanks for making
Maybe
my friend.
she's a stoner.
That's possible too.
No, she's got too much of a crazy eyes for that. Stoners are kind of like squinty, aren't they? Like that. She's got like big eyes.
Well, maybe it's the upper and the downer, you know, to balance each other out. So,
oh, you guys rock.
All right, guys. All right. So, thank you guys for joining us this week. We will see you next week.